You still can't see that shit. Now you can. All right, boys and girls, we are live. Week 1 is complete. Week 1 is complete in the books. I'm going to share this link with the group right quick. Let everyone know we're live. We'll pull that John up real quick. Share. Copy that link. All right. We're live. We'll let some people trickle in. We'll start going over some stuff. Made y'all put some respect on my name week 1. That's for damn sure. Don't doubt the king. Don't doubt the GOAT. We did that shit with Tom Brady. And all I did was go out and win. A ring and then another ring at the end of his career. So let's see. Once we get a viewer in here, I'll get going. All right, we got a viewer. Let's go. We got one. It's probably Landon Long on the road listening. All right, let's jump into things. I'm going to put this one here. And I'm going to put the fantasy group right here. All right, let's look at the scoreboard. Here's what we'll talk about today. On the recap, we're going to recap the games from this past weekend. I'll go over quick hitters of the scores, some highlights from each matchup. We're going to get into surprises and disappointments in terms of players who surprised, who disappointed. Let's see, injuries, who got hurt, who was already hurt. And then looking ahead to week 2, get a little preview of what we got coming up this weekend. Thursday, we got games in 2 days already. You know, we are in the shit. All right, week 1. We'll start off at the top. What the Brock is cooking, a.k.a. me, against Corey's mom, which is Pizzo. Let's take a quick look at the box score. Everybody doubted me. Thought I was going to get beat by Pizzo. As it turns out, I scored in the top 6 in the league this week. Definitely that was a huge performance by my defense, 29.24 points. That's why we kept the Bears. That's why we kept the Bears for $1. They got the 7th easiest schedule in the league, baby. Okay. Huge game out of J.K. Dobbins. He's projected for 9.8. He got 22.9, so 23 points. So huge day from him. Debo had a good game. Brock Purdy had a not good game. Well, it's not, he had a good real game, but not. A lot of quarterbacks did not put up good numbers this week for fantasy. There's like only 35 passing touchdowns this week, the lowest ever. Brian Thomas scored. We look at Pizzo's team, 35 points by Josh Allen, 10 by Jonathan Taylor, 14 by Brian Robinson. Pizzo had 0 from Mike Williams, 0 from his tight end, and 1.5 from Drake London. And it's not like he's got reinforcements on the bench. So Pizzo's in a tough spot. I think he flew down the power rankings. So I go to 1-0. Pizzo moves to 0-1. Moving on to the next game. This was a good matchup. 2 higher scoring teams this week. Corey beat Parker 145.68 to 126.56. Let's look at Corey's team. Anthony Richardson had a huge game. He was making big plays. Kenneth Walker had a big game. David Montgomery had a big game. Xavier Worthy had a big game. Cowboys defense had 22. His kicker had 12. James Conner had 16. Then you look at Corey's fucking bench. Jaden Daniels had 28. Baker Mayfield had 37. Zach Charbonnet had 10. Tyler Lockett had 7. He had 84 points on his fucking bench. His bench would have beat Pizzo. You know, great game for Corey. We'll get into injuries later, but Roman Dunze came out of his game injured, but Tyler Lockett was 7.7. Everyone was hoping on that JSN blow up. Looks like Tyler Lockett is still the old reliable. He's like that Nissan Altima back in high school that everyone was whipping around. That thing just got the job done. Great speakers. It wasn't flashy, but it was a great car, and that's Tyler Lockett. Now we look at Landon's team. Sorry, I don't know who Parker is. We look at Landon's team. Again, 126 points wins him most of the matchups this week. Actually, as a matter of fact, it would have won him every matchup this week except for his own. So definitely a little consolation in the loss. He got great games from his kicker, 21 points. Alvin Kamara, 17. Gibbs had 13. Stafford had, we'll call it 20. J-Mo Williams had 21. The Bucs defense, not great, but whatever. And then on his bench, he had a big game from Alec Pierce, subbing in for Josh Downs, and then Isaiah Likely obviously was a big game. Just an unfortunate loss for him, but I'm sure there will be a lot of wins ahead for Mr. Landon. Then we go on here. We got an upset in the West Division. Dan, the Gritty Gang, taking a dub from Mason, 124-94, we'll call it. Dan got shit play out of Kirk Cousins, but his running backs, all three of his running backs had a good job. I talked a lot of shit on Alexander Madison. Maybe Dan's right. Maybe he is better as the backup. So he came in there. He had 12.2 points. Then he had 26.8 out of Mixon, 21.6 out of Ramondre. His receivers didn't do shit other than Jetta. Jetta had 12, but DK didn't do shit. Josh Palmer didn't do shit. Kyle Pitts had a lucky touchdown. Kirk Cousins looked like garbage. Chargers defense had a nice game. Chase McLaughlin had 15. So Dan, Diddy puts up 124.46. A nice little showing there for Dan. Those running backs really performed for him. Then we look at Mason's team. Really, very underwhelming performance for him. Joe Burrow is the big letdown. Fun fact: Joe Burrow is 1-5 in Week 1 games in his career. So Joe Burrow shit the bed. And he's not that good. I think he's got a losing record in September as well. It's like his record's like 5-8 or something like that. Kyron Williams, 11.4 points. Got to definitely be happy if you're Mason. Be happy that Blake Corum didn't even see the field. Derrick Henry, 10.6. Definitely some concern that Justice Hill outsnapped him, especially in a close game. Garrett Wilson playing an elite defense like the Niners. I'm going to say this. I like Garrett Wilson a lot. He is very overrated. I don't think he is anywhere near as good as everyone wants to make him out to be. Everyone wants to talk about him being like a top 5 receiver. I just don't think that's him. I really don't. He's a little bit sloppy in his routes watching that game last night. He had the one play that got overturned because he didn't get his second foot in. Yeah, he's not big. He's fucking slender as hell. A safety could go and rip him in half if they wanted to. I think he's a fine receiver, but I think acting like he's a top 5 guy or ever will be is just fucking crazy. George Pickens, 7.5 points. That game was awful. Chris Godwin, I think he found the end zone, 14.3. Zach Moss, definitely have to be happy if you're Mason. Zach Moss dominated the snaps in the backfield and he got in the end zone. Seahawks defense looked solid. And then Jake Bates, I was surprised that the Lions kicked field goals. And then on his bench, he also had the Niners defense throw up 6 points. Niners defense looked great, although they didn't have – they had 1 sack or any sacks? I don't know. The pass rush didn't look great, but the coverage looked phenomenal. Rashid Shaheed had a nice game for him, 13.3 points on the bench. So yeah, good little ass whooping between the two friends that couldn't make the draft. Here is the ugly. Yeah, this is definitely the ugliest game of the week. I was gonna say it was Logan and Matt, but this game was really ugly now that I think about it. Tom gets the win over Nick, 77-55. Nick got his ass kicked. His team fucking stunk this week. Although, to be fair, if Nick had known that Jordan Mason was going to start, he probably would have started him. I'd be interested to know who Nick would have started him over. My guess is he would have started him over Ty Chandler, if I had to guess, and I think he still would have lost if we started him over Chandler. I don't think he would have started him over Chuba. So, anyways, Tom's team again only put up 77 points. Kincaid laid an egg. JSN laid an egg. Ayuk obviously looked rusty. Ayuk had a way bigger game. He had 2 drops, including I think it would have been like a 20-some yard touchdown. Zamir White, got to be concerned there that Alexander Madison looked that good and outsnapped him. On his bench, Kamani Vidal was a healthy scratch. Blake Corum could have been a healthy scratch because he didn't see the field. Atlanta's pass. Kirk Cousins doesn't look great yet. Michael Wilson scored. So not great for Tom. And then you look at Nick's team. The Dallas Cowboys kicked the living shit out of the Browns. Dak didn't even really need to do much that game. He only had 13.46 points, but again, he didn't really need to do anything. Miles Sanders outperformed Chuba Hubbard. Jerome Ford looked good, 12.9 points. Panthers offense, like just no shot. I wouldn't mind having Deontay on my bench, but you cannot start anyone in the Carolina Panthers offense, I don't think. I mean, I know we're in a 16-team league, so that might not be realistic, but goddamn, that team is fucking horrible. Bryce Young is horrible. Devontae Adams, 5.9 points. Terry McLaurin, 1.7. Really disappointed in that. I know Jaden Daniels had some good numbers, but McLaurin with only 1.7 points. Like, what's going on? Mark Andrews, obviously, the 1.4 points is concerning, and the performance by Isaiah Likely. It seemed like they were just using Mark Andrews to block. Ty Chandler at 4.2, which is good, given his role in the offense. Bucker, 9, and the Bengals defense is ass. So, Jordan Mason, had the Saints defense had 19 points against Carolina. He probably should have started them. And then Jordan Mason, 24 points, could be the starter next week in week 2 for the Niners. So yeah, Tom kicked the shit out of Nick, but both of those teams did not do well. Mike, upset of the week right here. Mike over Tim. Tim came in hot, talking all this shit all off season, all week 1, leading up to the game. And Mike had a huge Friday night. Jaden Reed goes off for 30.6. Saquon Barkley, 34.2. Mike ends up winning 123-87. Definitely carried by those two. I mean, let's be honest. Outside of those 2 games, like that was 64 of Mike's 123 points between those 2 guys. The rest of his team did not perform well. CD had a respectable 8.6. Zeke had 10.9. Justin Herbert looked, I don't know if Justin Herbert looked so bad. It was more so that offense is so run heavy and they've got no fucking wide receivers. Then Mike decided to pay $11 plus Jonathan Mingo to Shane so Derek Carr can be his starting quarterback. Keon Coleman, 5.1. Like I said, he sucks. Brock Bowers was encouraging to see 5.8. Adonai Mitchell, 0.2 points. Alec Pearson. Pittman played well. Josh Downs probably comes in there and takes over for Adonai Mitchell, which I'm sure they'll sprinkle him in. The Browns defense, 8.76, even though they got their ass kicked. And then Mike's bench, which we spoke about, is horrible. Had 13 points. So 3 zeros on the bench for Mike. But again, Mike paid top dollar to to draft Saquon, and Jaden Reed looked really good. So he's going forward. Without Jordan Love, we'll see how Mike's team performs. But Tim's team. Tim had a couple of big games. He had 30 from Lamar, 18 from Mike Evans, 12 from Rasheed. But then just really disappointment outside of that. Rashad White, 10.6 was solid. Gus Edwards, definitely some level of concern there if you're Tim. For Gus, Marvin Harrison Jr. Y'all got to go back and watch some highlights of the film. I was watching some film breakdown of Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know if he looks slow. I don't know if he is slow or lazy, but he looks like both. They were running him on a lot of deep routes, but it looks like he just wasn't like he knew he wasn't going to get the ball, and he just didn't really care. Didn't really try. So if that's going to be the case for him, it's going to be a long, disappointing season for Marvin Harrison because you look at his level of engagement in those plays, and it's not there. It's not. Rashee Rice looked phenomenal. Mike Evans with the 2 tutties. Trey McBride had a shit ton of targets, so his numbers will go up. Taysom Hill is what he is. Lions defense is good, but I think maybe a bit overrated. Greg the Leg. Niners defense, they weren't scoring much. Bucky Irving, very encouraging for Tim off of the bench. Definitely concerned for Jaylen Warren with only 2, and Najee Harris getting 20 carries. Austin Eckler was 6 points, which is definitely encouraging, but I think they had more so to do with they were trailing, needing to pass a lot late than, because Brian Robinson had the much better game. So Jalen Wright was healthy scratch. Marvin Mims, I don't even know if he showed up to the game. But yeah, Tim got a good old-fashioned ass whooping. Good slice of humble pie. We'll see if he can bounce back in week 2. Moving on, we got this one was a close one. Could have been this would have been the true upset of the week. Kevin almost pulled it off. But Tanner gets the win 92-85. Tanner got a solid game out of CJ Stroud, 23 points. Breece Hall had 13. Obviously, no Christian McCaffrey with the late news that he was a scratch. Puka getting hurt. Amari Cooper having Deshaun Watson as his quarterback, 1.6 points. Curtis Samuel, 1.5 points. Devon Achane looked really good, 16 points. Then, he had seven catches for 76 yards. The Jets defense, soft. Jake Moody, 26. That's big time. Fucking Tanner's highest scorer, Jake Moody. On that team full of All-Stars, who would have thought his best keeper would have been his $1 kicker for the San Francisco 49ers? But yeah, Tanner's in trouble. I know he won this game. And now he's going to say, I'm not in trouble, so I'm still going to make the playoff. Yeah, he started off 1-0. It would have been really bad if he started off 0-1. But we'll see how he looks going forward. He's got a lot of injuries to deal with already, and he's got some plans for his bench, so we'll see what he does. Kevin, a little bit of a disappointing game for Jalen Hurts. He kind of looked like shit. Not kind of, he definitely looked like shit. A.J. Brown was a beast. James Cook got a good workload. The Bears offense looked horrible, even though they won, thanks to the defense on my team. Christian Watson scored, but outside of that was terrible. Tank Dell, 5.9. He's going to have the yardage, that 50 to 100 yards every game probably. And then hopefully he grabs a bomb of a touchdown here and there. But I think that's what you're going to get with Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell and Christian Watson will have very similar outputs. I think they're going to be Tank Dell's floor is going to be safer, but Christian Watson, I feel like he's not going to be shit unless he scores a touchdown. Pat Fryer moved Tyler Algier, whatever. Texans defense against Indy, meh. Justin Tucker missed a 50-yarder. That 5 points wouldn't have meant anything. Kevin's bench just Alan Lazard had a garbage time touchdown from fucking Tyrod Taylor, and he had that stupid little offsides touchdown when the game was still out of reach. So I still think Kevin's bench is absolute dog shit. So gonna need to work on that. So yeah, Moving on. Again, Tanner wins 92-85. We got Super Coopers and Bijan Mustardson. This was Logan and Joe. Oh no, this was the game that I was thinking about was the ugliest of the week. Yeah, Joe loses 95 to we'll call it 95 to 80. Jordan Love 20 points, got hurt. Tony Pollard had a nice game 15. Bijan nice game 11. Michael Pittman didn't do shit. Ledden Conkey scored in that game. He had 10. Romeo Dobbs had 5. Evan Ingram 0.5. Worth $14. No, I was probably right. Raheem Mostert 1.9. Very inefficient. Chiefs defense 2.2. Jason Myers 10. And then his bench too. Like doo-doo. DeAndre Hopkins, Luke McCaffrey didn't do shit. Yeah, nothing exciting going on with Joey's team, unfortunately. Nice Logan walks away with a win despite only getting 7 points from Caleb Williams, who also looked like shit. Aaron Jones had a great game, 17 points. Josh Jacobs had 10.4. Cooper Kupp had 20. Christian Kirk, a.k.a. wide receiver 2 in Jacksonville, had 3. Jordan Addison came away injured in that game. Devin Singletary dominated the snaps, but the Giants are horrible. Vikings defense had 22. I don't think the Vikings are that good. I think the Giants are that bad. On his bench, Brandon Cooks at 10.5. I think Brandon Cooks gonna have a nice year. I think he'll find his way. He'll find his way in the lineup this week for Jordan Addison. So Logan walks away with a win there, 95 to 80. And last matchup of the week, Shane versus Matt. This one's kind of ugly too. Shane wins 86 to 79. Jared Goff, again, quarterbacks did not put up many points this week. Jared Goff had 13 points. Mahomes had 16. Chase Brown had 2 points. Definitely some significant concern, I would say, for Shane, with Chase Brown getting snaps dominated by Zach Moss. They both had the same amount of receptions, but he's definitely got to be encouraged by Najee Harris and those 20 carries for him. Tyreek Hill was Tyreek Hill. Jake Ferguson injury looks like that will not be season ending. It'll be week to week type of thing. Stephon Diggs had a great game on his bench. A lot of zeros. I thought it was Tyler Conklin season. It appears it is not. Rico Dowdle season appears not. Zeke had a good game there. Then we look at Matt's team, Denver. That's another one. We talk about shitty offenses I want nothing a part of. I was big on Javonte Williams. I wanted him. I actually really liked Cortland Sutton too. Bo Nix is horrible. He is horrible. And teams know that he's horrible, and they just are like, okay, let's stop the run, and we'll man up, and we'll put another guy on Cortland Sutton because he's the only guy that Nix was looking to. His last interception of the game, there was 4 guys on Cortland Sutton. 4. Njoku got hurt. Looks like it might be a high ankle sprain, might not be. Who knows? Jalen Waddle looked good. Trey Benson barely played. Khalil Shakir looked good. I like him as wide receiver 1 for Buffalo, so that's a nice one there. Keenan Allen could be getting a lot more targets coming up here. Rome Odunze is going to miss some time. Then on the bench, Jamal Williams looked good in a mop-up role. Jalen McMillan caught a touchdown with just 1 catch. Everybody on fucking Tampa Bay caught a touchdown that game. And then T. Higgins on his IR. So definitely a lot to be desired by both teams there. Obviously for Shane, I think better days are ahead for him with Amon-Ra having a low-scoring game. Jamar Chase at only 6 points. But the Chase Brown development could be interesting because Shane doesn't have another running back option to really put in for Chase Brown because Rico's kind of in the same situation, I'd say. All right, let's see here. Waiver report has gone through. That's the last of it. So let's go look at the waiver report. Let's see who was picked up, who was dropped, who was spent all the money. This will be interesting. I'm excited to look at this. All right, let's see. Wow, Bijan Mustardson, $21 for Tyler Johnson. Very nice. Wow. And then we got $13 for Colby Parkinson from Matt. Okay, with Njoku, who might have a high ankle sprain. Might. Emphasis on the might. Let's see what else we got. Devon Vele for $4 to Shane. I like that. Well, I mean, I like him. I would never use him because Denver. Matt got Josh Reynolds. Shane got Russell Wilson, who's disgusting. That's Tom got Isaac Guerrero, which is absolutely nothing. Let's see. I got the Jags defense. Mason loves Shigakunaku. Or Mason. That's nothing. Did his tight end get hurt? All right. That's it. That's it for the waivers. 21. The high for Tyler Johnson for Bijan Musterson. Be interested to see what they do with him. They're gonna start him. I doubt it. I don't know why you spend that much money for a player you're not gonna. You just spent 20% of your money on a guy you're not gonna play. That makes no sense to me. But hey, that's why they're 0-1, and I'm 1-0. All right, moving on. Surprises, disappointments. We kind of talked about the surprises and disappointments as we went through the scoring. Obviously the surprises. Let's go to week 1. Week 1. We'll look at these here. Quarterback surprises. Baker Mayfield leading the way for quarterbacks, had a phenomenal game, 37 points. I think that's a big surprise. Definitely disappointed in a lot of the top end quarterbacks. We had, some of the names that went under 20 points: Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, all these, Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, all went under 20 points. So lots of disappointments at the QB position. Really, the biggest surprise, I would say, Baker Mayfield, and then Derek Carr with 27 points. Running back, biggest surprises, Jordan Mason, obviously, the whole, and CMC being out was a big surprise. J.K. Dobbins, I think, is a surprise to everybody but me. I knew what I had in J.K. Dobbins. Nobody else believed. J.K. Dobbins, a big surprise for everyone. Ramondre Stevenson, I would say, is a pleasant surprise. I think people expected Antonio, and myself included, Antonio Gibson to chip away into that workload. In that disappointment, another surprise, Alexander Madison. Disappointments, definitely got to be very disappointed in Chase Brown. Very disappointed in DeAndre Swift, Devin Singletary, Tyjae Spears, Zamir White, Javonte Williams, even Derrick Henry would be, I would say, is a disappointment. Wide receivers, surprises, Jaden Reed. We knew he was going to be good. That good was a big surprise. Xavier Worthy, how much that they were looking to him, I think was a nice surprise to get him involved in the game, I would say. It wasn't a surprise. And he only had 3 targets, but they clearly had plays drawn up for him. Disappointments. There wasn't many passing touchdowns, so there wasn't many big games from receivers. Disappointment. I would say I'm disappointed in Olave. He was on my team. But again, when you're winning like 40-0 at halftime, you don't really need to pass the ball in the second half. So it's hard to gauge that. So not many at the wide receiver position. Tight end, obviously everybody that had a top tight end was disappointed. None of the top tight ends played well. We only had 2 double-digit scorers for tight ends, Isaiah Likely and Foster Moreau. So nothing great there. Injuries, Christian McCaffrey is a big. How much time is he going to miss? I think he misses week 2. I think Jordan Mason will continue to dominate the snaps there. And I think even after that, they're gonna, obviously the end game is the Super Bowl. Got to keep everybody healthy. Mason's not gonna go away. Puka Nakua, big injury for Tanner. Another one, he's on IR. You hate to see that. Jake Ferguson got hurt, but it seems like he'll avoid IR. Jordan Love injury. I think that hurts everybody in that offense. I think it hurts Josh Jacobs. I think it hurts Jayden Reed. I think it hurts anybody that plays in the Packers offense. I think it hurts them significantly. David Njoku looks like he'll probably avoid IR as well. So those are I think the biggest injuries from the weekend. No other huge names got hurt. And then looking ahead, let's see. We're gonna start these guys for the Bears because I don't want to start the Bears against Houston at Houston. Perfect. All right, let's take a look at our matchups for the week. I'm playing Corey right now. I am a 6-point underdog. We've got me versus Corey. I'm a 6-point dog. We'll see how that turns out. Logan right now Dan is heavily favored to beat Logan right now, 108 to 94. Shane heavy favorite to beat Nick. Nick's projected for 98 this week, but 113 to 98 is our projection. Tom projected to get another win this week at 105 to 98 against Matt. We've got just a little drinky poo Mason up against Joe. That's a 20-point spread there in Mason's favor. Hurts to Cook. That is Kevin. Kevin is favored by 7 points over Mike. We've got Tanner. Tanner is 116 to 108. That's my game of the week. Tim versus Tanner, my game of the week. Should be some very fun shit talking going on beforehand. We'll see. Tim got a really healthy serving of humble pie this past week. So we'll see how the shit talking goes on this one. But I know that if Tim does beat Tanner, we will not hear the end of it. Then we've got Landon and Pizzo. Landon should take him to the woodshed and do a collab because Pizzo is going to get fucked so hard. His team sucks. So that's what we got for our preview. All right, waivers are through. Remember, we got games on Thursday. Thanks all for tuning in. Make sure you all, if you haven't, like and subscribe so that you can get notified when I go live. Even though I will notify you in our GroupMe. But also, I think the more likes and subscribes I get, I think I can start doing lives from my phone because I can't do lives from my phone until you have so many likes and subscribers or some shit like that. So, all right, cool. Thanks for tuning in. I'm 1-0. Fuck all you guys for doubting me. Don't ever doubt me. I am inevitable. Have a great day.